Alright, guys, so welcome to the PF Music Podcast. Thank you for hopping in. This is episode 141. This is your host, Pablo Ruiz Vargas. Make sure you like and subscribe for the YouTube channel, Rumble, and be sure you're listening to the podcast on one of those platforms. If you're listening to the podcast on Anchor.fm with Simple Play, you're going to help the podcast. This will be episode 141. Happy Thanksgiving for those in the States celebrating the great day for make sure that you give thank you for all things that the day itself means. It just mean thanks and giving the great things. This is a great moment to just sit down, reflect, and meditate the great things. Now today we're going to talk about the importance of culture. We're in Thanksgiving. Let's just hop into culture. Why culture is so important, right? What does culture do that it just is so important? So culture is basically the expression of people, expression of families for generations, right? That just give a great identity to those that maybe don't need one or they don't have one. But it just what it does, it just express, right, the reflection of a community. Now, what we notice is in a couple generations, some culture has diminished. It has not evolved, right? Has diminished. It has been failed to be transported to the new generations. Now, I'm gonna give my personal opinion why this has been. Okay, let's go back to the 1980s and 1990s. What happens? So before that, right? We know that a man was working, right? Mainly working outside, and they have mom stay at home. So you have a clear distinction. What's the purpose of having a family? So basically, you have people going to church, right, once or twice a week, right? You have one parent staying at home, helping the kids, right? One parent working. So the kids have more attention. Not only that, we don't have the huge advancement of technology, so we have more community, right? Getting together, not only in church, but concerts, local activities, sports, all that stuff. What happened in the 1980s, 1990s? So now the female go to the workforce. Now, don't get me wrong. Now we're getting more money in, but now we're sacrificing two parents working, right, for the sacrifice of money. But what's the consequences? So now you don't have a parent staying at home and teaching the kid the culture because they don't have time, right? So the kid has been passed on to daycares or family members that they can just, take care of the kids. Now, what is the ramification of those things? So the most important thing, staying with the kid and teaching them culture, is not applied because parents are not staying at home. Okay. Not only that, the most important details, which is having a great connection with the kid, are gone. So now we have generations where they're not passing on the culture. So two parents working, so that means that no church, no good conversation about life, about values and morals, and three, no structure. So you destroy all those three things, right? Now we have failure of culture. So the basic of culture is that when those people cannot find something to drive on, or they don't have a guidance, at least the culture gives them a structure where they can hang on to it. With the absence of culture, you have people just looking at things with no guidance. I come from a Puerto Rican culture, a very Christian culture, and we are very, let's say, touchable. But something that I noticed is that some of the important things have been missed because never been transferred. Going to church, very hard to transfer. I never went to church with my family. I had to just go with friends. This is the benefit of culture. I did went with friends. They went with family members. I went with my brother. That's culture. Christmas carols. I used to just go to people's houses and sing. I never went with my parents, but I did went with my friends. That's culture. All those things does provide culture to make sure we can at least express where we're living in. Now, the more I get older, I understand why it's so important to put the family in a position where they have something to drive on and express. Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, right? All those things that make a distinction of who you are, right? Easy. And from there, of course, we can start moving around and really understand where we're coming from, right? We're not here today because a coincidence or just because it's an accident. There's a lineage to go from generations. Generations that they sacrifice certain aspects to get here where we are today. And with that, with the spirit of Thanksgiving, I have to say thank you. Thank you not only for the fact that I can spend time with family, eat something, right? Cook, right? Make the tree, the Christmas tree, all those things which bring me happiness. I have to say thank you. Thank you because I live in the greatest country in earth. I love my country. I love my people, right? And it has given me opportunities to move forward in life. And those things are not an accident. I come from a Christian background, and that helped me to really battle a lot of things in my life, right? A lot of those demons, right? Those things that are very hard to kill. It's important for you to have some of the sides of your life taking care of health, social, spiritual, and financial handle. And all aspects are important, and some of those aspects are taken care of by culture. Whether it's religion, non-religion, social, right? And not everything is perfect. You have to understand, not everything is perfect, but with good care, right? It can be improved. Since we have the boomers and the Generation X, they fail, in my opinion, to transfer the culture. It's now our responsibility to rescue some of them and pass it on. Whatever was rescued, do not let things be determined by others. Do what you can, right? Do what you can. And I think because mom and pop were working, both of them in the 90s, 80s, now early 2000s, we had the absence of culture. But now, it's our responsibility to make sure that we not make that mistake anymore. We stand up. Now we understand that, okay, both parents can work, right? But now we have to make a sacrifice that the kids need attention. Not from our daycare, not from family members, right? From one or the parents, right? You can work from home, make it easier for you and your kids, but your kids need our attention. And both of us cannot work 8 hours a day in a different companies. That's unrealistic and unhealthy for the kids. The kids can grow up just hating the parents. They're probably gonna look for attention somewhere else, and you don't want that to happen. So we have to make a sacrifice. If that's a problem, move out to a place that's cheaper. And cheaper and can get take care in money is not a problem. If you cannot do that, maybe your ego's in your way. Maybe you have to just check your ego, be humble, right? There's no reason to live in a very expensive place. Both of you guys are working, struggling to pay the bills, right? And at the same time, your family is suffering. Your family is not getting culture. You guys are not going to the church. You guys are not reading books. You guys are not spending time together. That's a problem. So therefore, why doing it in the first place? Exactly. Humble yourself and make sure you live in a cheaper place. Hey, and from that you built. In my case, I want to say that And this not a Thanksgiving, I say, think about culture, think about family, think about greater things that you share with your family, and try to push it and keep it for your future generations. Throw out the bad, out the one that you don't want to remember, and keep the good. Okay. As soon as you do that, right, you want to notice what was your purpose. Your purpose to create a legacy, not to just get eaten by the flesh. The flesh are the addictions, the things that are bad. That's not your job. Your job is not to be happy. Your job is not to enjoy. It's not your job. Yeah. Your job is just to have a legacy and pass it on, right? And with that, with something that you enjoy. See? Create empire. That way the others that come after you, they can build it better for greater generations. Build an empire for when your kids see you, they can work on that empire and they can just work in their future kids for that empire. With this, guys, this was episode 141 from the PFM Music. Thank you so much for listening to me. The importance of culture, right? Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. You listen to the Anchor.fm in radio or in music podcast software. I'm gonna really appreciate it with a simple click of play. With this, happy Thanksgiving. Have a good night.